All right, good evening. We're going to start the December the 4th meeting. We're going to have invocation by Commissioner Oliver, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Firstner. Please stand.
Let us bow. Most heavenly and gracious Father, we come to you in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Lord, we come to you right now lifting your name upon high, praising and exalting your holy name, Lord. Thanking you so much, Lord, for this day. Thank you for your creation and allowing us to be a part of your creation yet one more day. Lord, right now as we get ready to conduct our commission meeting, we ask that you will allow us to be able to touch and agree, that you will help us to make good decisions that will help our community. Lord, we also ask that you will continue to protect those first responders, our firefighters, and our police officers, the ones that actually put their lives on the line for each and every one of us in this city every day. We ask you will continue to protect them from all hurt, harm, and danger. And Lord, as we continue this meeting, we just ask that you will just grant us your Holy Spirit, that we may leave together on one accord. These and all things we do pray in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Grogan?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
All right, we have a proclamation for Clare's Law. I will read it, and then we'll bring up Mr. Boat. Yeah, Boat. All right, proclamation. Whereas hospital or nursing home patients have the right to be treated with courtesy and respect, with appreciation of their individual dignity in an environment that contributes to a positive self-image. And whereas hospital or nursing home patients have the right to be free from mental, physical, sexual, and verbal abuse, neglect, and exploitation. And whereas patients have the right to be protected in their need for privacy and to receive care in a safe setting. And whereas there should be penalties for healthcare facilities for covering up serious violations. And whereas Clara Mae Bowman was a victim of sexual assault by a male nurse in 2006. And whereas Edward Bowman, Clara's husband, has worked tirelessly to have a law enacted to protect patients against sexual predators working in hospitals, nursing homes, and medical facilities. Now therefore, the Ocoee City Commission does hereby declare that their support for legislation that would protect all patients against sexual predators working in hospitals, nursing homes, or other medical facilities, and to have penalties assessed against those medical facilities in violation of Clara's Law, in witness whereof I have hereupon to set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Ocoee, Florida to be affixed this 4th day of December 2018. We had Mr. Bowman here at a prior meeting, and we had him talk. So what we're going to do tonight is bring him up and give him this proclamation and a letter from the commissioners signed by all of us. So I want all the commissioners to come down front, and we'll present this to Mr. Bowman. Come on up, sir.
Yes, sir.
Come around front, and we'll get a picture made. Come on up here and get in the middle, we'll get you a picture here.
Okay. Right here.
Yes, sir. There you go.
Well, in there. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Glad we progressed.
All right, next we have the presentation from the CACOPD, that's the Police Department civilians, I guess. Who's going to be doing that? Deputy Chief McCosker and Victoria Lane. All right.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Frank. Tonight, we're going to actually be honoring 3 of our officers that work together as a team. I'll be introducing them before I turn it over to Ms. Laney from the Advisory Council. Unfortunately, Officer Lee Stevens wasn't able to be here tonight, but he's one of the officers that would have been recognized if he had been able to. Tonight, we'll be recognizing Corporal Jerry Lewis and Officer Brett Schatt. Corporal Lewis is a West Orange County native, having attended West Orange High School. Corporal Lewis started his career with the Ocoee Police Department in 1996. He's currently assigned to patrol. Well, many people know Officer Lewis from the many hours that he's volunteered with the Citizens Public Safety Academy. He teaches the firearms portion and almost always wins most entertaining instructor. Officer Brett Schatt joined the Ocoee Police Department in April of 2006. He's worked both patrol and traffic. Again, he's probably someone you recognize because he's often led the Ocoee Christmas Parade and other events as one of our motor units. He's a traffic homicide investigator and is also currently one of our field training officers. Now I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Victoria Laney.
Yes, on June 23rd, 2018, Officers Lewis, Schack, and Stevens were on patrol in the city of Ocoee when they got a message from dispatch saying that a car had crashed into a retention pond and was upside down. The officers rushed to the scene and they discovered the vehicle crashed into the pond. It was in fact upside down. They waded into the retention pond and they heard bystanders yelling that someone was trapped in the vehicle. They dove underwater and they resurfaced. They dove over and over again to try and find the trapped male. They discovered that he was on the edge of the pond and he was receiving CPR from an off-duty nurse. But as they resurfaced, bystanders started to yell that there was a baby trapped in the vehicle. Officers Lewis, Schacht, and Stevens, fearing that the bystanders had seen evidence of a car seat or a baby or heard a baby cry as it went in, they once again dove under the water and they began to search over and over again for evidence of a baby trapped in the vehicle or a baby seat thrown out of the vehicle or anything they could find that showed there was a baby needing rescue in the pond. They eventually did not discover a car seat or any other items within the car or floating in the water, but they dove under the murky retention pond water over and over again until they were absolutely sure that there was no baby or no other person, for that matter, in danger. This exhibited incredible courage and bravery to go into murky, slimy, dark water that they couldn't really see, to risk their health to do that. It is courage and bravery. These are seasoned officers, so it's not a surprise they would have done this. Throughout their entire careers, they've been counted on for going the extra mile for us, the citizens of Ocoee. They give their spare time to firearms safety classes, as he talked about Officer Lewis. They buy groceries for the homeless. They sat with a domestic violence victim in the station and listened until a safe person could come and get her and take her to safety. And they've done countless other acts of kindness. Every day, selfless acts of kindness, some of them that aren't even reported. It's just a way of life for them. And so they've responded to a life and death situation, leaping into action to save lives. But every day, they save lives and make lives better through their ongoing kindness and compassion. And for that, they certainly deserve Officer of the Quarter.
Yeah, each of the officers will get a pin for valor, and they can wear that for 30 days with their uniform, and then anytime they're in a dress uniform, they can wear that as well. If any of you hear their shoes sloshing, they had another incident today where they had to go out and help someone come out of the water, so their shoes may still be wet. They did work today, so thank you. He had to. Thank you, Mayor.
The person they rescued is here with us this evening. There we go. Yay. You want to come up and say something? Come on up and thank them.
Come on up, come on up.
Come over here and introduce yourself.
My name is Dave Daniels. If it wasn't for these brave people, I wouldn't have to be here today. They're my guardian angels. Thank you, and God bless them for all they do. And your fire department, too. God bless them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Why don't you bring them back up and get a picture with them, Charlie, and
I think so. Yeah, we need another picture.
with this?
They got the next quarter wrapped up.
I'll push the button and everybody goes.
You guys, all the way.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. Comments from citizens, public. If anything that is not on our agenda, now's the time to talk about it. If you want any conversation on anything that's not on the agenda, now would be the time for anybody in the public. You coming down, Mr. Menacke? Oh, okay. You're moving back, okay. All right. You never know with you. All right.
Is it too
All right,
cold?
we're gonna bring it back up to the for staff reports.
I have nothing, Mayor. Just a reminder, we won't be having a city commission meeting on December 18th or January 2nd. So the next one, I'm sorry, it's January 1st. So the next meeting is going to be on January 15th.
January 15th will be the next meeting. All right. Commissioners' announcements. Commissioner Grogan.
Just a brief talk about the water mains that were put in up on District 1, Jamal, Russell, Sabrina, and Kimball, that they're going around now, the city's going around now, coming up beside your house, digging trenches. Not to worry, they're putting the water lines in, and it will take some time because we're doing it on our own because plumbers right now are very scarce. So if there's anything you do to help them, we're going to have good water pressure pretty soon.
All right. Commissioner Wilson.
Just a question. Mr. Menacke said it was cold in here. I think I heard someone else say, other people say it was cold in here. Are you cold in here?
Yeah, we checked the
They can
temperature and
adjust
put it
the
on
air.
71.
I was
think
gonna say,
somebody
they can
must
adjust it a little bit if people are cold.
look and see what it says. 68. Put it on 71.
Then complain later that it's too
It
warm and we'll
won't,
turn
it
it
won't
down.
blow cold and goes up there. All right,
Thank you. I'll have more later. Thank you.
all right. Commissioner Fershman,
No, not at this time.
Commissioner Oliver.
Yes, I just wanted to say, in being witness to the citation that was given out to the police officers is just, for their acts of valor, just makes me so proud to be a part of this city, knowing that we have officers of that caliber to do heroic feats of that nature. So it just makes me proud to be a part of this city.
All right, a couple things. I will say today, I spent most of the day downtown at the convention center for the inauguration of our new mayor for Orange County and our new sheriff, Mr. Demmons, for the mayor slot. It was the sheriff, and then Mr. Demmons, who was the chief of police for Orlando, is now our new sheriff, which he lives in Ocoee for 20-something years. Mina, yeah, what did I say? Demmons. Well, that's why I spent all day down there today with a bunch of politicians, what can I tell you? Whew. But, and all the new commissioners were sworn in too, so it was a great day. A lot of people showed up for that, and it was great. All right, announcements here. The 18th annual Operation Santa is taking place December the 5th, 6th, 10th, 12th, 18th, and 20th. Santa Claus and his helpers will visit the neighborhoods, tossing candy and spreading holiday cheer to children and families. When the float arrives, residents are being encouraged to give Santa new unwrapped toys. The toys will be donated to Ocoee Police Department's Holiday Toys for Kids in Need drive. For a complete list of the 64 subdivisions Santa will visit, go to ocoee.org or call the Ocoee Fire Department at 407-905-3140. The December the 18th City Commission meeting has been canceled, and also the other one. In observance of Christmas Day, City Hall will be closed on Monday, December the 24th, and Tuesday, December the 25th. And City Hall will be closed Tuesday, January the 1st, in observance of New Year's Day. I will say that we had the Christmas parade this past Saturday, and if any of you didn't get to see it, it was a great day. We went to Winter Garden first for Winter Gardens, and it was good there also, but I think we had a great day at Ocoee. We had a long parade. I think it lasted about an hour and 45 minutes, I believe. So everybody had a great time. The kids seemed to enjoy it, and the citizens seemed to enjoy it. So sad we had to miss our lighting of the tree because of the construction, but next year we'll be back at it with the tree lighting and the functions down at Lakeshore Center. All right. Consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson, seconded by Commissioner Grogan. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, we're going to move to public hearing, 901 East Crown Point Road Warehouse, All-American Barricades, large-scale preliminary final site plan. City Planner Rumor.
I'll talk fast if you listen fast. I'll talk fast if you listen fast.
We'll try to.
That's a scary folder I have done.
For the record, Mike Rumor, City Planner. The item before you is a preliminary and final site plan for the All-American Barricades. It was approved in June of 19th of 2018 as an annexation and PUD rezoning. The site's located just north of what we know as the Park at 429, and it's on the east side of East Crown Road. It's in the City of Ocoee Utility Service area. Remember, this property was when we annexed it in, it was a sort of an agricultural use. It's located within the State Road 429 Business Center overlay, that being the Park 429 East Crown. You have the city limits on the east side of the road. East Crown Point Road is under Orange County's jurisdiction up to this road. South of that, it's City of Winter Garden. The project is a 30,000 square foot light industrial flex office building, which will be pre-developed into 12 different suites. The access point is on, as I said, there's one access point off East Crown Road. This site plan is exactly like the PUD land use plan you saw back then. What's different from this industrial building than what we have at Park at 429 is the Park at 429 is developed with dock height building so they can pull the semis up. This building does not have any rear access. It's at grade. It's not raised up. So they will access via the front, and it's the ability to accumulate as many units as somebody wants, or you could have individual units. There's sufficient parking. Orange County is in control of the road at this point. With the proposed development and with the traffic study, Orange County agreed that a turn lane at this site was not required. And the site has its own on-site stormwater retention with a little pop-off that goes to the State Road 429 site and then flows along the 429 to Lake Apopka as the site currently drains now. So again, this is a preliminary final site plan approval. This site plan, this approval allows them to begin constructing the development, and it will meet the intent of the State Road 429 overlay and provide us with another flex office light industrial opportunity employment center. I'm here to answer any questions. Applicant and engineer are present if you have any questions.
All right, you have anything to read? All right, what I'm gonna do is open it for the public hearing, then I'll bring it back to the, anybody in the public have any comments or anything on this agenda item? All right, bring it back to the dais. Anybody on the commission have any discussion?
I just have one item asking. You said Orange County is in control of the road in front of,
Directly in front, yes.
directly in front? Because isn't there sections down there that's Ocoee on one side and Winter Garden on the other, and are the boundaries?
Yes, so the east side of East Crown Point Road, north of Franklin Plant Street, is City of Ocoee's jurisdiction for zoning and city limits. Also our utility service area. West side is City of Winter Garden, and Winter Garden controls a road south from this point, south to Plant Franklin Street.
Thank
Is there, we talked about that road, and we understand that Orange County has control of that, the road in front. And you mentioned they have the traffic surveys that they use to make determinations if there needs to be turn lanes or the road needs to be widened. Is there some type of cookie cutter system that they use to do this based on current traffic, based on the current traffic? Yes. The population density or whatever, they're a cookie cutter system that they use to do this? Yes, sir. So the county takes counts each year, so they have an average daily traffic count. They take the land uses and the build out of what's vacant, so they can kind of progress what the trips are going to be. This site in particular, you have a couple of issues. The site is not a large development. The flex office light industrial is a low trip generator, and the distance to the adjacent property on the south and their entrance points and their existing turn lanes doesn't afford the opportunity to have a sufficient turn lane.
Okay, so they actually do take into account future development
Yes.
within either a certain square, or say a certain radius of square miles?
Yes,
of
and it's
that
done by
location?
land use.
Land
So they
use.
look at the land use, so vacant commercial can be a lot of types of uses, a lot of trips. They don't look at necessarily zoning, they look at land use.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody else? No more comments, I need a motion for,
Motion to approve.
motion made by Commissioner Grogan, do I hear a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Forster. Any more comments? No more comments, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on to item 6, Inspiration Town Center Plan Unit Development, PUD Large Scale Preliminary Final Site Plan. I do have a couple forms filled out for this item, and I'll call on them when I go to the public hearing, so if they want to speak. All right,
Okay.
Mr. Rubin?
Yes, this is the Inspiration Plan Unit Development. It is an approval for the preliminary and final site plan for the commercial aspect of the development and subdivision plan for the 90 townhome units that are proposed. The project received PUD approval back on March 6, 2018 with a land use plan, and the proposed preliminary final plans conform to those. The site's located on the south side of the Florida Turnpike, just west of McGuire Road and somewhat north of Common Boulevard. The parcel on the east was annexed at that same time as we rezoned at PUD. This portion was located in the city of Ocoee.
The site is accessed by this future, what's called North Road, which will be, is to be dedicated by the adjacent property owner, and I'll expand more on that here in a little bit. The land use, when we annexed it, it has a commercial land use and a PUD zoning. And this is the land use plan that was approved by the Commission March 6, 2018. With regard to the plan, what is proposed in this development? I'm showing it overlaid on an aerial. There is a 90 townhome unit development with a commercial side, which is 42, has two-story office retail at 42,000 square feet. There's 2,500 square feet of retail. There's a daycare associated with the PUD that was approved. The stormwater for the site is being all held totally on site. The access point through this North Road will come into a roundabout where you can go in to the right to the gated 90-unit townhome development, and then you're able to go right into the commercial aspect of this development. There will be a easement, and if it's such the project for some reason doesn't go through and the right-of-way is dedicated, we have an easement in place around this cul-de-sac to allow future trips to at least go in there and turn around should the development not make its full development potential. The area has a lot of history. A lot of Tommen Boulevard and McGuire Road in the subdivisions to the south were all a part of this property owner, which is the Heller family properties. And Tommen Road was built, right-of-way dedicated. There's a lot of history of agreements that go with the Heller property and the dedication of right-of-way, construction of stormwater ponds, development and construction of utilities, which also affect this property, as well as Heller retains rights on this property. So we've been working closely with the representatives from Heller on this property with this preliminary final site plan and subdivision process. And there is a representative here from Heller. The subdivision, the townhome side has an amenity center and a trail that you're able to walk around the development. There's sidewalks. The proposed North Road is a separate set of plans that the applicant is designing and engineering and will construct to the satisfaction of the city's requirements and to the satisfaction of the Heller properties. There is, as there's only one way in, one way out, and this has been planned for a long time. Tommen Boulevard actually used to run all the way through to McGuire Road. It was vacated years ago under an agreement that Heller would dedicate a future right-of-way for access to the properties. The applicant is here and the engineer, but I'll go ahead and show you some of the renderings so you can understand. Back when we came through in March of this year with the PUD, we also approved elevations. This development has sort of a new urban town center feel to it. It has, this is an aerial showing the turnpike, the bird's eye view. You can see the townhomes are modern, as the townhome development, and the commercial aspect has a modern architecture to it. There is a wall around the perimeter of the property, particularly along the Florida Turnpike. There is a provision, a condition of approval that their sales literature will state that they know they are buying adjacent to the Florida Turnpike and that the city of Ocoee is not responsible for a sound wall. That was approved under the plan unit development. This is a depiction of what the wall will look like. It's a precast wall, and this is a view when you come down McGuire Road. You come from the Turnpike, south of McGuire, the wall will be there, and adjacent to the Heller property down here, this wall. And the wall in type is, the wall type was not in your plan, but it is now part of the public record. This is the type of wall that will be facing the future commercial property. Wanted to make that note. You can see the units, and the applicant will describe more about how his development program for the higher end 90 townhomes and the niche commercial office, retail aspects of the development. I wanted to go back and touch on the staff report and the conditions from the Heller property, some of the issues from the past development agreements from the Heller property. I'll show you via this aerial. So as I said, the Heller properties, family development, dedicated right-of-way built roads, and in some agreements, which are not in a development agreement, they are in deeds for sale and transfer of constructed improvements. There is a provision that protects this parcel so it can, the trips that it generates, the water and sewer that it generates, are all already pre-approved in the capacity for these developments. They built the water and sewer system, the lift stations, they sized it to be able to handle this property, and they are not responsible for any upsizing or any additional changes to those units. We are taking these properties, the two parcels of this subject application, and they are going to use that water and sewer system. As part of the agreement, we're going to bring back later to the City Commission, we're going to update we have some development agreements with the Heller properties. We're going to provide an updated development agreement and kind of restate some of these old agreements and provide the commission some understanding of what the lay of the land is out there. We do know at this point, by adding all the residential and the commercial, office, retail, and daycare, that the line sizes, the water and sewer lines are sufficient size. So if, when the Heller property comes, hopefully develops at a good intensity, the city should not be on the hook to have to upgrade any lines. Our report, which will be finished the end of this week by Reese Environmental will show that we will have to upgrade the pumps in the lift station and kind of how the lift station works. We'll provide that information to you with a development agreement with Heller, kind of restating some of these old commitments. As part of the site plan and the staff report, the Inspiration PUD plan has a table of tracks. They listed the future North Road as a tract and a pond that is in the ownership of Heller. So we're requesting, as part of the recommendation for approval, you'll see I had 3 conditions. We also want to make certain that they remove those Heller tracks from their tract table because it's not a part of their subdivision. And then finally, there's a little bit of drainage from this commercial side, which drains into that property and that existing pond. And we're looking to make sure there's no drainage from this section along the residential that will drain into Heller. And the representative will kind of announce that he also wants to make sure that we tie that loose end and make sure there's no drainage, and they should be fine with the plan. I believe I covered all aspects. If there's any questions, I'll be here. And again, the applicant and engineer are here.
All right, what I'm gonna do is let the developer come up if they wanna make any comments, then we'll have then I'll bring up the 2 participants who wanna make comments. Does the developer wanna come up now, or you wanna wait till after I do that? All right, first would be Jim McNichol. I'm gonna open the public hearing. Jim McNichol. Give us your name and address. All right,
Good
we got a
evening.
time, we set the timer, set it for 5 minutes.
Good
Okay.
evening, my name is Jim McNichol, live at 830 Patriots Point Drive, which is in the Brookstone subdivision south of Tomlin Boulevard. I also happen for my sins to be president of the HOA, a volunteer job I've had for 7 years. So I'm not just new. I've stood at this dais many times. I've never come away with a victory, maybe tonight. Anyway, really 2 aspects. And Mike has changed the technology. It used to be an overhead here that you could see. I read some pictures. I guess the first aspect would be traffic. Tonight coming here, obviously coming north on Maguire Road, from Tomlin Boulevard to Highway 50, it was solid white lights of cars, and that's at this point in time. So I think access to these 90 expensive homes will be a difficult situation. Okay. My pictures are older than yours. if we take the so if you're coming south on Maguire Road at busy periods, it's almost identical to what we had about 2.5 years ago going north on Maguire Road in the morning, and you've tried to get access to turn right, which is above this, the top end of this picture, into Old Winter Garden. The developer of Park Place, which was a Scorement Development Company, I believe provided considerable amount of funds to the city to build a right turn lane, which certainly alleviated a lot of the problems in the morning rush hour. I would suggest before approving this development that a similar sum of money, or maybe half of that amount of money, is provided by the developer. If he provides $180,000, say, for 90 homes that he's going to build, divide that by 90 homes, that's $2,000 a home, and these homes are, from what they previously told me, expected to sell over $400,000 to high-end individuals who are going to purchase there. So $2,000 to the purchase price is 0.5%. And it's really unlikely to make a big difference if you're that much of a professional to buy that house. The other aspect then becomes, so if we put a right-hand turn lane southbound at the junction of Maguire and Tommen, that improves access to Tommen. Tommen Boulevard was just repaved about 3 months ago, thankfully after a longer discussion with the city of Ocoee. But really that road is now too narrow. It needs to be expanded. So perhaps this contribution of maybe 180,000 would help to give Steve Krug a little benefit for the year 2020 in his budgeting to make Tommen Boulevard 2 lanes each way, at least until you get to Wallace Road, because that's still part of the city, and that's where your volume of traffic is morning and night. It's not a quiet little street any longer. It's a very busy thoroughway. In addition to that, since the Park Place development was completed, you also have another large apartment complex just south of Robertson. Can't remember the name of it, but it's been there. So you've added a huge amount of traffic there in the last 2 years, and continue. So that would be that aspect. Never mind, there is some pedestrian traffic that goes from the development I live in, who cross Tommen Boulevard to get to the little Primrose School, which you can just about see. Yeah. So that's a concern. As a revenue loss to the city of Ocoee, what will become North Road is a nice little place for the city of Ocoee Police Department, who currently sit there regularly and pick up speeders. So there's an offset if you get $180,000 for the developer. You can forget about the speeding tickets. The second aspect then becomes the design. And Mike says it's modern, and in this world, modern means a lot of things to a lot of people. And I'm a bit older than him. So many people will recognize this sign, Nissan. But how many people will recognize this sign? It's Peter Norman Nissan, later given the DSO, which is a Distinguished Service Order from the British government for his services during the First World War, just over 100 years ago. And he developed something for the army and the forces to use. This is it, a Nissan hut. Gee, is this any different from the roofs here? It's got the same round tops. We're going 100 years and we've not really improved that much. Now some of these have changed over time, and people have developed and improved the Nissan huts. And just to show that I don't need to come here and complain all the time, this is a picture, black in my head, during one of the many sessions that the city held to the regeneration of downtown. And if you go back to that document, and you look at the style of the buildings in that document, and it's online, anybody can look at it. Hopefully the county attorney doesn't tell me I've compromised copyright here. But there is nothing in the design of any of these homes that bears any resemblance to this new development, which will look like and this not inverted of 100 years ago. So, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, before you make a decision to say yes to this, maybe you should give consideration. Yes, it will be a little enclave supported by the turnpike and currently a little bit of a forest. I don't think the design is in keeping with anything else that you have presented over the last 5 or so years in relation to the city and how it should look. And so I would reject it. But if you're not going to reject it, ask the developer to a little contribution towards the traffic to ease the issue, which is exactly the same issue in reverse, only it's southbound on Maguire as opposed to northbound, that was incurred with the development of Park Place.
Mr. McNichols, we have a time limit of 5 minutes.
It's an accent.
I've let you go over, so.
Thank you for listening. Thank you
Yes,
for your
sir.
time.
I won't fine you. Well, you can maybe come back up if you had to. All right. Next is, his name is world famous here, Paul Rosenthal. Come on down.
Hello?
How many times have you been in this room?
I actually counted it once when I retired, and it was over a year of my life in meetings here at Ocoee.
We enjoyed being with you.
Which is kind of scary.
That's right, I was gonna say.
All right, go ahead and give us your name and address.
Paul Rosenthal, 2605 Norfolk Road, Orlando, Florida, 32803, representing Heller Brothers Groves, which is the adjacent landowner to this property to the south. Heller Brothers owns the commercial piece, which you see on the screen, also the existing pond and the right-of-way for the future North Road, which is going to be conveyed to the city of Ocoee. All of that is pursuant to a 1999 agreement called the Common Road Agreement, which was part of an agreement between Centex, which built the Brookstone subdivision, Heller Brothers, and the city of Ocoee. So when Brookstone was developed, it was really developed as a master system, stormwater, drainage, utilities, and infrastructure to also accommodate the Heller commercial property. We appreciate the staff working with us and taking input from Heller Brothers. Some of these agreements, unfortunately, I'm the only one who really remembered that they were there and what was in them, which is why Mike and I have talked about maybe doing an update, an amendment to the Common Road Agreement to just make sure that's memorialized in the public records. Following the meeting today, because the approval is subject to the staff recommendation is subject to 3 conditions of approval, which are in your staff report, which we agree with, and also staff comments, some of which Mike addressed in his presentation. The ones of particular concern to Heller Brothers are the discussion of the wall type, the revision to the table of tracks to eliminate property owned by Heller Brothers from this subdivision track table, and drainage to make sure the rooftops and drainage flow from the structures which are at the common boundary with Heller Brothers drain to the north and not into the onto the Heller property, which would take it through to the Brookstone stormwater system, which isn't designed to accommodate this property. So I've talked to the developer earlier. We'd just like them to come up here and acknowledge and confirm that they agree with what staff has presented and these comments, so when they come back and update their plan, there isn't any question that those specific features are going to be in the plan. Then following this, Heller Brothers has traffic consultants, which is working with the city and the Inspiration PD developer on finalizing the design of North Road. We're also going to be talking to the city about different ways to basically make sure we spread the traffic around the property so it's not all coming out on North Road, because right now that's the only main intersection of the property. So we're going to talk about some traffic disbursement issues, and we'll be doing that with the staff and developer over the next month and 6 weeks. With all that, Heller Brothers thinks this is a great project. We've looked at it. We think the design is going to be good for the community. It'll be good to see North Road actually built. Again, again, talked about this and put the plan together to build it back in 1999. We've kind of learned sometimes it takes 10, 20, 30 years for these plans to come to fruition. But on behalf of Heller Brothers Groves, I'm here to indicate our support for the project, subject to the developer confirming agreement with the staff recommendation and the comments made by staff to go into the subdivision plan.
You got extra time.
Okay, that's
All right.
always good. And it'll be nice to go home and not have to wait till the end of the meeting.
There you go.
Oh, we know you missed that.
All right, now I'll have, anybody else in the public have any comments to that issue or that item? All right, I'm gonna close it and bring it back and ask the developer now to come up, make their comments.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, this is Ray Veloso, the developer from Yellow Rock Construction. Thanks for having me.
Did you give us your name, right?
Yes, Ray
And your
Veloso.
address?
Address?
Company address.
Address.
6965 Piazza Grande, Suite 406, Orlando, Florida, 32835.
All right.
All right. So this is the Inspiration Town Center and Luxury Homes. The commercial section is composed of a two-story building, which is medical office and retail. We also have a retail office building to the left right there, a restaurant in the park. We developed this with advice from the city, to create open space so people from the community and also people from the residential side, they can come in. It will be a beautiful park with place for children, dogs, with artificial grass for water conservation, also to keep it green throughout the year. So this is a project that is costing us over $150,000. So we're gonna make it very beautiful. There's gonna be, seat benches and things like that. On the back side, you have the Amazing Explorers, which is the first 100% STEM preschool, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. The school has been open, same type of school has been open in the Lake Nona Laurier Park, which is the Technology Center. And it has been a huge success. The school has capacity for 220 kids, just like Lake Nona. And there is 200 people on the reservation list in Lake Nona. It's been full 3 months after its opening, just because the concept is so different, it's so modern, so clean, and I encourage everyone to go look at it, Amazing Explorers Preschool, and check it out. On the residential side, there's 90 townhomes. It's a very unique project, very high-end. Each unit has its own private backyard, and it comes already fenced with a masonry wall, 6-foot masonry wall, bamboos. On the backyard, we're gonna have also artificial grass for water conservation and also easy maintenance. Residents also have an option to, at contract signing, to add a pool. The smallest size backyard is 500 square feet, 25-foot wide. Comes with a summer kitchen as well. And there are backyards that are as big as 900 square feet. So this comes with our concept. Each home has 2 car garages, about 2,000, a little under 2,000 square foot of living area, with 3 full suites, including a bathroom for each one, a bathroom on the first floor, huge open area, which there's a pocket door that makes the first floor, the door becomes invisible. The first floor joins the outdoor area. So you have about 850 square foot of open area, big island, and then another minimum 500 square feet. So together you're gonna have 1,300 square feet of open area. Very, very a different concept. High ceilings, 10-foot tall ceilings on the first floor, 8-foot doors. So it's a project that has been developed to bring, the executives, doctors, and people that are looking for a technology and a high-end flair, which I think the city has been missing, and we're very excited to bring this project to market. If there's any questions, I'll...
All right, commissioners?
I have a question.
Oh, yeah, I'll confirm. We actually had a meeting a few days ago with the city and Paul, and all the comments that the Hellers has made, we have no issues with that, so yeah, we're completely in agreement.
What is the price range going to be of the residential units?
We're finalizing, but it will be on the mid-400s.
What was it?
Mid-400s.
Anybody else?
I have some questions, but I didn't want to interrupt. Are you finished?
I'm through.
Oh, okay. Regarding your commercial site, I know you're talking these companies or businesses that you're going to have in there. Have you already got contracts with them to be there? Because you talk about the school at Lake Nona, but I know that in the past we've seen things come before us. This is going to be a business here, or going to have a coffee shop here, and then we never see it developed. So what I want to know, how soon, if that's the case, how soon after you begin construction are you going to be doing construction on the commercial site?
Building 2, which is the 40,000 square feet, and the school will start immediately. The school is already contracted for. Building number 2, we have about 40% in reservations, and the other ones we haven't even brought to market just because we're waiting for the right time. You know, we don't want to create expectations. Once this project is approved, then we will have a grand opening January the 30th and start selling the project. But the school and the largest building, the commercial, we're already going to build it in the entire infrastructure as well, regardless.
Okay, and you are the ones building these actual townhomes?
We are the one actually building. We have built over 1.8 million square feet here in Central Florida. West Lucaya, the project in Piazza Grande, and over 900 square foot of flex space in the Sand Lake corner of John Young commercial park area over there, yes.
Okay, and one more question. Mr. Romer, you had mentioned, I know that we have 3 recommendations that were placed here. The recommendation that was made, I know you mentioned earlier, and we've had that, it was brought up at the time of when this project was brought to our attention the first time, that you're actually,
That was a
is that a
condition of...
4th recommendation?
That's a
that's
condition of approval that's already in place.
That regarding the turnpike, I mean, we all
Adjacency to
know
the
the
turnpike.
turnpike's there, but
Yes.
it's just that no sound walls will not be responsible for constructing any sound walls.
Yes, that's already in the plan under conditions of approval. These are 3 additional.
3 additional, okay.
Yes.
All right, no, thank you.
Anybody else?
You mentioned other properties that you've actually completed. Are these other properties similar to this layout and this design?
The property in Piazza Grande, it's very similar on the inside. We actually bought this property back in 2013, and the outside was Mediterranean. We completely refurbished the inside to bring it to the design that we have on the inside area, the modern design. You know, we couldn't do the outside, it wasn't financially feasible. The property is 100% occupied because what we felt is the market is looking for higher end, energy efficient, and then this modern flair. So we did that, and it did very well. Mike was there looking at this project. He came to our office. It's very clean cut, and we have also done, not directly, but indirectly, a project that is modern in the Kissimmee area. One that is more colonial, but this particular design for the townhomes is actually, it's not so typical. You're starting to see this in Lake Nona. You have in Winter Park one of the a huge successful designer. I don't want to name names, but most people know him in Winter Park. Those townhomes are selling upwards of $700,000, $800,000. So we're confident. Actually, the reason we developed this is because our clients have been looking for this. We have built a home, the Lake Nona Country Club, that has this design, which is upwards of $1.8 million. So we're actually bringing a very high-end design down to, the higher middle class, doing in volume. We can bring the price down and provide something that is really high-end. So we haven't done this particular project in townhomes, but we have done similar projects in other areas, single-family homes, and then commercial, the interior that has the same feeling. Yeah.
So not the mixed use of the retail and townhomes together, you have not done that yet, but you've done it separately. You've done townhomes.
Separately, yeah.
And you've done retail development as well.
Correct.
In your retail development projects, what would be the square footages and what type of retail establishment have been put in those establishments?
Great question. The Piazza Grande in Veranda Park, it's 80,000 square feet. The first floor has a 7,000 square foot preschool, has a coffee shop, has a furniture store, has a design center, has a language school, has a bride showroom, and then the second, third, and fourth floors are composed of professional services, such as there's about 7 law offices, there are technology companies, there are travel agencies, real estate companies, and generally speaking, professional services. And they are small footprints. One of the things that we found out is we like to start with small footprints, compact but very well designed. They usually range at about 1,200 square feet. And of course, there are cases that we just remove the demising wall and we rent it out, up to 4,000 square feet. But most of our tenants they take this 1,200 square feet spaces, which allows them to have a very high-end space without having to spend $4,000 or $5,000 rent per month. They're usually around the $2,500 per month, which is something they can afford, but have a high-end space that they can actually call home and save money with energy and just feel good about it, instead of having a large space which is not necessarily well designed. So that's our focus. Our focus is to bring a high-end design to the market in a price point that people can afford, to our clientele, which is the high-end middle class.
Commissioner,
One last question. Have you worked with any national retail brands?
It's not, no. We actually, this type of design is more as a destination versus, a walk-in type of center. It's like doctor's office, Actually, I failed to mention, there is about 6 doctors in the building as well. So it's more doctors, it's more attorneys. It's not a walk-in traffic. It's more a destination place.
Commissioner, I did visit the office complex, and it targets a very niche use. The furniture store, you can tell it's very high-end furniture. It was not open. It's like by appointment. There's a lot of professionals. They use a lot of glass and steel, and they can move walls around, and it lets you really tailor to the footprints you want regarding the office and retail. And the townhomes, we visited one he's helping to construct. It's not his project, near the Animal Kingdom, which has this more of a modern look. That development has an element of short-term rentals where they're owner and they can rent them short-term, and then some of them are owner-occupied, and it's sort of that
Vacation home market.
Yes, and the center that you use here, where they can do the groceries and what do you call that center? It's so you're able to have the community, with this type of development. We visited 2 of them. The one he's building is a colonial style in Kissimmee, and we visited the more modern one. And it's really, again, it's a niche user. It's a user that calls. You can go and have concierge service to your development. They provide concierge, get your groceries and stuff like that. But it is a very niche user. It's not intended to have.
You mentioned rental properties. You talking like Airbnb type properties?
Yeah, this is not permitted in this development. The development, the one I went and visited, did have an element, had a lot of units, but some of those are rental. This is not, short-term rental is not permitted in this development.
Okay.
And it's limited to 90, so it's not, there, he could achieve a density on this parcel with a commercial up to 16 dwelling units an acre, and you're at, with the 90 units.
It's much less. We have 10 acres, 9 units, so it's more like 9, right?
So, yes, so he's not trying to achieve maximum density and get the maximum number of units. He's really keeping it. It's a niche use. And 90 is a low number, especially compared to with a commercial land use, you could have a, you know, big box store there or something, so.
So that's a conservative number based on what you really could actually maximize out as far as the usage?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right. Before I go back, I was thinking that if you had any more questions, Mr. McNichols, I'd have to open the public hearing back up. But I think the pictures look a little different than what those Quonset does. I mean, I might have a place where you could use some of them though, but they look different than what these are. I mean, but the problem back in the days when we did that project with Park Place, I know I got a lot of bloodletting out of that, but for myself, but about apartments. But we've had other people address the issues about putting apartments in, and we've turned them down. We've tried to keep away from that and not add more 300 more apartments or 350 more apartments. We tried to say, and we said we wouldn't put more apartments down on the south side of the turnpike, which I think townhomes are a fee simple. It's an owner person. You know, I don't know what we keep on doing here because with the project where it's at, I don't know who'd want, we had them ask that about Park Place about having the townhomes up against the turnpike. So if they want to live there and spend $400,000 up against the turnpike, I mean, that's a different thing than what I'd want, but I think that's, I don't know what we're gonna do there, because I know back a year or so ago, or a couple years ago, we had them wanting to put storage facility there. And there's no way we wanted to put a storage facility there, and they were gonna open it up on the McGuire Road. So I think I talked to you about that back then. So we can't have that, and I will also say that you asked, and while he's standing there, he can answer it. Would you like to give another $190,000 towards the road? I mean,
We actually done all the traffic studies, and our project does not warrant a additional road improvement. All the traffic study has been provided to the city. In addition, we are already building North Roads, which is it's not really our responsibility, but just to make the project feasible. We agreed to build a North Road and get a impact fee contribution, which was much less than originally what we wanted, but you know, just to be a good player, we decided to agree with that as well.
all right, and then the impact fee money for transportation, Mike, do you have that amount?
I do not, sir. I do not.
Well, I'd like to know what it is, and that way we put that towards the improvements of that road, where Mr. McNichol and Brookstone was talking about. We put that money from that impact fee.
Let me just kind of speak to some of that. Yeah, I did fail to mention, they are providing a left turn lane from eastbound Tommen Boulevard into this future North Road. Also, during this process, the Heller is looking at the development, at their future development. They have, the amount of trips they generate is already vested because they gave the land, built, but the turning movement, so they are studying, and if there's an additional lengthening to the turn lane, Heller has stepped up and said, we'll pay that now while they're out there developing. We'll build the turn lane, the left turn lane, as long as it needs to be. There's also not a requirement in the traffic study, but there is a right turn decel lane being provided at this location. And again, these traffic studies, the applicant had a consultant provide a traffic study. We reviewed it, as well as the Heller had a traffic consultant review it. So there are a couple of turn lanes going in, but the width of Tommen Boulevard, the width of McGuire Road, and all the turn lanes that are in place takes into account all of the land uses and the developability of those in the future.
Yeah, I remember. So. Now, one of the, before we vote on this, one of the major problems is, and I know most of you up there know that, I know Mr. McNichol knows it, the problem we got is our roads, we built that road, McGuire Road, expanded it from what it was a 2-lane road, and the Tomlin Road was changed, but the traffic patterns have all changed anyway, because of everything that goes on outside of Ocoee, everybody's coming through Ocoee because they come down McGuire Road or they come down that road. So it's just like them putting in the roundabout down on the corner of, by the county area down there off going into Fowler Groves from that part. So it happens to be a lot of traffic happening on our roads, not just from what we control or what we can control, but it's from everybody else that's coming through our town. So I just want you to know that I would never vote for apartments again on that south side. I promised that. I said I wouldn't do it because it took me a long time to get the blood back that I lost out of that. But 90 is a unit that we maybe can work with. I don't know about a restaurant in there. I don't say you can get a restaurant that would want to go in. We can't even get a restaurant up on the corner of McGuire. So I don't know how you can get a restaurant in there. It'd be nice if you could, but it's something that's going to happen. That's been, Paul knows, a long time ago we designed and worked on these roads and these situations, and it was allocated to do this kind of stuff, probably even more than what we're doing. So, I mean, I think that 90 apartments is a little bit, not apartments, but townhomes are, like I said, they're going to be owned. They're not going to be rented out. They'll be owned by people. I hope they don't rent them out. So $400-something thousand. But I think the traffic problem, we can take some of the traffic study money we get out of the impact fee money and see if we have to do any extra stuff there, and maybe, like he said, from the front part of McGuire back to the back part of that curve down on the other part of Warriors Road he's talking about. So, anybody else got any more comments? All right, what do you need? Just need a motion?
Yeah, we need a motion. If the motion is for approval, it would be approval of the large-scale preliminary final site plan per staff recommendation and the 3 additional recommendations in the staff report, in addition to the plan revisions discussed by staff on the wall type, the track chart, updating the track chart, and the building drainage issue.
Yes.
I was thinking about the design. Mr. Nickel made comments about it. I'm still thinking about it. I looked at some of those somewhere, and I mean, it changes. The city's got different designs everywhere. We got some of the, the different looks everywhere, but those don't. They're a different look. I mean, I was out in somewhere not long ago, seen the same style of townhomes. But anybody else? I need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the Inspiration Town Center PUD large-scale and final site plan.
Motion made by Commissioner Ferschner to approve. Do I hear a second?
That is stated by the city attorney, excuse me.
Huh?
Is that is stated by the city attorney?
Yes, as stated by Mr. Cookson.
I will second that.
That's all right.
I will second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Ferschner and seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Before we call for a vote, is there any more comments? I will say that
Before we go,
I got a motion on the floor, so.
I know there's a motion, but just as additional comment, I do have some reservations, and my reservations is based on 2 things. One is going to be based on traffic, and we deal with that all the time, even though this is not my district. But again, I still have to have some concern about traffic in the city as a whole. And when we start dealing with these cookie cutter solutions to traffic based on surveys, and we take these from the county and whomever else we get them from FDOT, as opposed to looking at the quality of life of the people that live in that area versus a cookie cutter setup as to, well, we meet the qualifications to not add any additional lanes, any turn lanes, or any road widening of the roads. That gives me pause. So I do have reservations based on that. The other reservation I have is We have lots of different maybe mom and pop stores in the city, and we're always looking for national brands to come in to enhance, again, that quality of life of our citizens. So one of the questions I had was, have we dealt with any national brands? Have we looked at bringing a national brand into that area, any type of restaurant or something of that nature, which we definitely have a lack of sit-down restaurants in our city. We can definitely always use more. As we increase our population densities, we always want to look at how do we bring more national brands to attract more people into our city and bring in more revenue. So those are my two concerns. I just have concerns. Those are my two concerns. That's my comments on it. That's just how I feel about it.
I'd like to address them. The site that is very conducive to grocery stores and more of those national chains would be the Heller sites on the corner, which is really the best sites. What our project does, it creates a development that with everything that is already around it, this last piece will be, it's a premium piece, has a premium price and premium piece. That's where the national stores and chains, they should be coming in my opinion. As to the traffic, as Mike, Mr. Romer alluded to, the land use for that property was initially for commercial, the ones that are townhomes, which has actually higher traffic load on the city. So by bringing in the townhomes instead of the commercial, it's actually alleviating the traffic as opposed to if it was, flex space, office spaces, or whatever that could be in there. I just want to bring those points, because it's related to some of the reservations, which is
All right, I'm going to make one more little comment or two. In the years doing this, and as the gentleman knows, everybody comes up here later, and after we've been doing this for years, and the traffic studies might be hodgepodge, or you think they're hodgepodge, but they're done by professional people that are licensed to do it. We have to go by it. The county does it. We do it. You look at the county, they build everywhere. They build all around us. They have the traffic that impels us too, impacts us, but we cannot sit here and not develop. If you listen to what you're saying, we don't do no more develop. We just stop. We don't do no more building. We just stop. You can't just stop. To get the roads, you got to build. To get the impact fee credits and do the things, we have to have that to build. I mean, we wouldn't have had Brookstone. We wouldn't have had any of that. But you have to allow for certain traffic patterns, and I hope when we do the traffic studies, we have to believe what they're telling us. If you're going to sit up here and not believe it, then we've got problems, because everywhere in this county that I go, they're building. I mean, I don't care where you're at. So, I mean, we got to make sure it's the right thing to build. I don't want to build no more apartments there. I sure don't want to see no 300 apartments, but I want to make sure that we take our traffic impact fee money and we do put it to use to help alleviate some of the problems we do have in traffic. But the traffic's not our problems as it is much as the people building around us. So, I mean, we stuck $9 million or $10 million, I don't remember what it was, on McGuire Road to 4-lane McGuire Road. We're still paying for that road for the traffic to study. People that live in our city would be okay. We have enough traffic way to have. But when we have all the other people moving here, moving down our roads, Clark Road, McGuire Road, that's what Ocoee Pop Road, that's what happens. And I don't know what else you can do. By law, they're able to build on that property. So we've got to make sure we push it to as much as we can do to handle what we can do that makes it work. I'd like to say I wouldn't vote for it because I'm friends with Mr. McNichol and I'm also friends with Paula Hope, but I got to vote for what's right for the city. I mean, we got to have, something's going to go there, and we said years ago it was going to go there. We stopped the storage facility from going there. We've stopped apartments from going there. And these gentlemen that spend a lot of money, they want to build this, we'll get the tax dollars off of it. The road system is made to work. So I think sometimes we have a lot of traffic problems here, but boy, I went to Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and you think we got problems? Try that place. But we can't stop development. It's gonna happen.
Well, your point's well taken, Mayor.
I mean, I
it's very well
I
taken.
get out in it too, Commissioner. I drive in it too. I hate it, but there's certain things by law we have to do. And we looked at that for a long time back in the days when nobody else was around here. And we went on the limb by just four-laning that road. We gotta get them, we're paying $10 million out on that road. So,
Mayor,
all
I
right,
just wanna-
I'm through.
Just want to say one thing too, is with the professionals that we have and the traffic studies that are done, I have a lot of confidence. I'll just say, today I came in from downtown Orlando, and I drove from downtown Orlando straight out to John Young, past John Young to Kirkman, without stopping, because the lights were all in sequence.
Yeah.
And again, by using the professionals that we have to coordinate that, I really was surprised today, because it was a smooth sail straight in. And I even forgot about getting on the east-west, I'm sorry, the 408, whatever we call it. But the thing is that by using our professionals, we can move traffic along. And that's so important, and that helps. Again, we can't control, we go into Windermere, and that's a little town, but in the morning, when you see the traffic just going through, they never anticipated that traffic, probably when they first built those roads, but they're able to move it along. And that's what we have to do in order, when you have development come in, you have to be able to move the traffic, and that's by using our professionals.
All right, I've got a motion on the floor. I'm gonna call for this. Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. We will make sure we look at that, Mr. McNichol, for the traffic patterns too. All right. Next. Number 7, Top Gun Cheer, 651 South Blueford Avenue, large-scale preliminary final site plan.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, Mike Rimmer, City Planner. This is a large-scale preliminary and final site plan for Top Gun Cheer. This is a little economic gardening. This is our effort in our downtown coming to fruition. This is the former Florida Rock Industries property. It's zoned I-1 light industrial. It's adjacent to the fire station. This site was actually identified as one of the brownfield sites in our brownfield data analysis for the reasoning for the overlay. It was a fuel tank leakage issue. That has been cleaned up. It is under contract with Top Gun Cheer, who now presently operates out of the former Toys R Us building in front of the West Oaks Mall. The owner is here. He sees an opportunity in Ocoee and in our downtown, and he's wanting to move his facility that he's leasing at the former Toys R Us and move it towards the Ocoee downtown on Blueford Avenue. This is a site that provides 36,000 square foot, that's the aerial. We adjusted the zoning, so it's all I-1 zoning now. This is the architectural rendering of the facility. You'll see from Blueford Avenue, that's the east-facing side. This is for a 36,000 square foot cheer facility and training center. That's a destination for families that are in the cheer. There's a couple of operations, only I think 2 in Central Florida. He's one of them, one of the top ones. And it's, I'll let him brag about his business. I'll just do a little bit. But they provide not only cheer lessons, but they also take in Disney Wide World of Sports has a national cheer competition. They take in cheerleaders from around the state and nation and let them practice in their facilities, preparing for their time at the Orlando Center. And actually, the architecture of the building is intended to emulate what that cheer building at the Wide World of Sports is. So when his athletes train here, and when they go to do their national competition, they're kind of walking into that, almost that same building effect. But again, this is all a big cheer gym. There's an ability for a little retail aspect addition in the future. This is on the corner of Cumberland and Blueford Avenue. The site under our I-1 zoning tables allows C3 and commercials, and in our commercial, we have what's called a commercial recreation, which this falls under. So this site is not going to develop in a light industrial way close to our downtown, so that's a win. The operation will bring a number of cheerlead mom and dads to the facility a couple times a week, and they'll have some time on their hands and be able to venture down to our downtown and enjoy and make a couple of stops, hopefully, in the near future. So this is, I'm not telling Commissioner Grogan anything he doesn't know already. They also provide training during the day for the preschool, so there's other opportunities for parents and kids to come to this facility when the athletes are in school. The site has enough parking and drop-off. We do not have, it's in the brownfield overlay. It's in our downtown, but not in the downtown core. And with this site, we were able to, from day one, the owner came up and said, I want to do something, upgraded architecture with this building. And it wasn't appropriate necessarily to have that building because of the drop-off and use right up on the road. So what we've done is we've negotiated with the applicant to provide, sort of like we have at Ocoee Town Center where the Oasis apartments are. They have that knee wall, that decorative knee wall and landscaping. He's providing that up along the right-of-way to kind of lightly shield some of the parking lot, but just kind of bring some element of an urban fabric closer to the road. The site will have on-site stormwater drainage. They are going to connect sewer and run sewer at their property along Blueford Avenue, which is going to allow us to move it down to an eventual temporary ending at Geneva and allow some development of these properties across the road down to Geneva. We own the parcel on the northeast corner. And so it's going to help us to be able to provide sewer capacity for future development. So that's another little win with regards to this development. The Blueford Avenue, we are looking with a consultant at a new streetscape. We know we have Blueford from Orlando Avenue all the way up to Silver Star Road has a new streetscape. We want to carry that down from Orlando Avenue all the way down to Old Winter Garden Road. So we're kind of preparing this site so when we do that Blueford Avenue in front, we don't have to rip out a bunch of landscaping. So they're doing this garden wall and they're doing landscaping from day one that's going to be similar to what we want, transitional into that downtown core. It'll be really nice when we come through with the new Blueford streetscape. It'll work out perfectly. With this site, we are providing some initial incentives because we have the opportunity because it's in our brownfield. It is a brownfield designated site, and we feel this use with the number of participants and the number of the type of clientele will be a benefit to our downtown and our downtown core. So you'll see in your development agreement, we are providing some impact fee credits and some waivers to transportation impact fees for this site. First, there is a credit. There was a former building that was raised. It was a dilapidated looking building, and the property owner raised it. We're giving them credit for the square footage of that building under a light industrial use. The site is dedicating 5 foot of right-of-way on Blueford Avenue. Blueford Avenue is an arterial road, and it's right now at 55 feet wide. It really needs to be larger. They're dedicating 5 feet of right-of-way, so the value of that right-of-way, and then the rest of the transportation impact fees we're waiving to offset some of the cost of the knee wall and to incentivize a project in our brownfield overlay. We're really excited. The applicant owner is excited, and him and his engineer are here if you have any questions. We recommend approval for this site plan.
What's the, before I open the public here, let me ask you a question. What's the traffic there? What's cars come down that road going into that business? What's the amount of cars?
I'll look that up and I'll get back to you on that.
Because you're right past the red light, and it's 2 lanes, so that's another spot we gotta talk about too, with their impact money. There gonna be a turn lane into that?
So with the downtown, and this is the downtown we consider from Geneva all the way up to Silver Star, with the downtown core kind of going down to Delaware. We go with a constrained roads with parking on the road. So this area of road south of Orlando will be similar to what we have in the downtown core, and then it'll transition as it goes through the CRA and transition. So no, there is not intended to be turn lanes at the intersections other than what is on Bluford now. The Bluford streetscape will look at the width of the lanes and provide sidewalks and street trees to kind of blend that element into our downtown.
All right. I'm gonna open it up to public hearing. Anybody in the public have any comments on the item number 7, Top Gun chair? All right, close it, bring it back to Dice. Anybody up here have any comments?
Yeah, Mike, it looks like there's a entrance and exit on Geneva, so there's actually 2.
There's 2, there's an entrance and exit here, and
So
entrance
they
and
can
exit
go
on
out, they can
Cumberland.
Utilize all
Yes.
different ways of whatever way kind of
Yes.
coming in?
Yes.
Okay.
On the
It
Columbus,
doesn't open to Geneva Street.
no, Columbus.
Columbus, not
Oh,
Geneva,
it's
Columbus,
Columbus?
yes,
Columbus,
Columbus.
yes.
Okay, sorry.
Any interference regarding the Columbus entrance and exit versus where it's across the street from the fire department? Are they at the same point, or?
They come out onto Bluford.
Well, no, they come out, they go into Columbus and come through onto
Yeah,
Bluford
when
after they come back, right? But I'm just asking, is there?
Yes. Carlos, I think the engineer will come up. I believe it's right about here, right across from the entrance into the administration side of the fire department.
Okay. Is the building front facing,
The front is
Bluford.
facing Bluford, correct.
okay. Refresh me on the brownfield credits. What
So-
was that, I know it was a while ago,
Yes.
but.
So the brownfield overlay is a tool to use. It's intended because there are, if you have brownfield sites, contaminated sites, it's perceived that there's also properties adjacent to that. Their property values are devalued being adjacent to a brownfield site. So what the brownfield overlay allows you to use as a tool for local governments is not only the ability for the property owner that has a specific brownfield site to receive up to $200,000 in grant money to clean the site, but it also affords the opportunity for investment in incentives. We call our brownfield overlay the Ocoee Special Economic Enhancement District. And with that, we can waive impact fees without having to justify. Like a lot of times, other developments, we will give impact fee credits. You're gonna build an extra turn lane, that $45,000 value will credit you. Under the brownfield, you can waive impact fees and it doesn't have to be tied to any specific development.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Just-
I'm gonna ask the developer. Developer wanna come up?
Easy. Right.
I will ask one question while you're coming up. Go ahead and give your name and
Yes,
address.
sir. Good evening. My name is Roger McClellan. I live at 9313 Tibet Point Circle in Windermere, Florida, and my wife and I are developing the Top Gun project, or want to.
One question I'll ask, those
Yes, sir.
trailers are gonna be gone, right?
Pardon?
Those trailers?
Hopefully the day before we close, they'll be gone.
Okay.
If not, I'll be dragging them out of there. I'll figure out how to get them out of there.
Bright futures? Yeah, I figured
We
that.
do plan on starting immediately after, as soon as we can. Everything's
All right.
lined up with the financing, the contractors and all that.
All right, does anybody up here have questions? No. You wanna say anything, or you good to go?
I mean, I guess I'm good to go. We're
Okay.
super excited about it.
right.
My wife and I operate it. The brand Top Gun has been around for 25 years. Our business has been there for 5 years. We have a real stable, from the business standpoint, customer base. And we plan on, developing this area and developing just a great place for kids to come. And, our kids are both in high school right now and want to kind of continue the family business after they get back from college. So we're
Great.
excited about doing it, and we just think it's a great, we've been here at 5 years at the West Oaks Mall, and we just think it's just a perfect location for what we're doing, and we're super excited about the opportunity.
Glad to have you here.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anybody else, any comments? All right, need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And this one has a,
Wait a minute.
Sorry.
the
is there-
second item behind the
You got the
development
second.
agreement has
Develop-
that.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do the large-scale preliminary first, then we'll go to the next.
Okay, so
All right, I need a motion for the large-scale preliminary.
I'll make a motion for the large-scale preliminary final site plan.
And I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson, seconded by Commissioner Oliver. All in favor?
Oh,
Motion carries unanimously. Now for the second one, Mike, developer agreement.
That developer agreement contains the items I discussed with you
All
on
right.
the incentives.
All right, any more comments on that?
I'll
Any
make,
more comments? I need a motion.
I'll make a motion regarding approving the development agreement.
There's a second. A motion made by Commissioner Wilson for the developer agreement, seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Any more comments? Not, let's vote. Welcome aboard.
Welcome to District Two.
All right.
Love to get that in.
We're gonna do one more, and then we're gonna take a 5-minute
Oh,
break.
thank you.
Or, I'll get in trouble. I hate that, but. gotta take
Amen.
5 minutes. All right, number 8, Vera Mir.
Mayor, this one's going to be out of my staff reports, it's going to be the longest
Oops.
in my presentation, just to let you know.
Break first.
Yeah, I got,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I need a couple-minute break. 5 minutes at the max.
And I just want to make note to the commission that some items in the staff report, and I have a development agreement which is different than maybe something you've seen, so I'll discuss those items with you when I get to them. This is a site located on Ocoee-Popka Road. We have Palm Drive, Ocoee-Popka Road and Palm Drive. The Sobix sub is right here. The
Okay, where is it?
Gary's old property.
Mill
Yes,
Point.
yes. So Sobix subs is right here. Can you see that from it's right here. You have the gas station, Sobix. You have the church, then you have the post office annex. This is Palm Drive.
Okay, now I know where
Yeah, you can see the old field. We have a city park that kind of wraps it in some aspects. The property is also located within the Brownfield Special Economic Enhancement District and the State Road 429 overlay. So we're starting to see some more fruits of our labor. The item before you, as I said, is a preliminary and final site plan. It's for the relocation of 2 existing buildings. One of them is a corporate headquarters from the Orlando area to the city of Ocoee. It's the land use of the property and zoning is commercial. The proposed use is first on the northern half of the property is what's known as Vermeer Equipment, Vermeer Southeast. They are the southeast headquarters they are the headquarters for Vermeer Southeast, the Caribbean as well. And what they do is Vermeer is an internationally known equipment manufacturer for underground construction equipment and wood waste. Their equipment is not dozers or big forklifts. It's ditch witches and it's smaller type equipment. This would be, as I said, their southeast and Caribbean corporate headquarters. I provided a business profile in your packet. It'll employ locally 41 employees, have a payroll of over $3 million, and half the employees earn over $50,000, which is higher than the median wage for Orange County. How Vermeer's site will operate is they'll have a 2-story, they'll have a retail and office up front, in the back, an enclosed area where they fit and prepare the equipment for final destination. The Vermeer business plan, they provide training, arborist training on certain equipment. They do demo days. They bring people to their site additionally besides for sales and office. They hold training and they bring people to their site. The next use is Trinity Tile, which is one of the large flooring and tile companies. They have the main office in Ocala, but their Central Florida office, Orlando area and surrounding, will be located moving to the city of Ocoee. Again, it is an element of their little regional office, retail, and enclosed warehouse storage. The Trinity they do over $58 million in sales. They're going to have 24 local employees, 14 make more than $50,000, but their average wage is over $65,000. They're moving this. This third building is a cooperation between the 2 uses, the 2 companies. It's going to provide a wellness area, an area for retail and such. So it'll have an element that their employees will be able to use and also the public. The site is 8.69 acres in size. They will have access, let me see if this shows it. They'll have access points on Ocoee-Popka. Ocoee-Popka Road is a county-controlled road, and they will also have an access off Palm Drive. The development is facilitating the opportunity for a realignment of Palm Drive. The comprehensive plan shows a future realignment of Palm Drive, cutting through part of what is our park now, parking, and cutting through this property at this point. We sort of lost that opportunity with our park and with this proposed development to realign Palm Drive and cut the property in half. But what the applicant has agreed to is providing a realignment of Palm Drive at this segment right here, kind of across from the entrance to the church. How this came up is we're in the early stages still, but near the middle of our Silver Star corridor study, and in that corridor study, it showed that the north-south travel movements on Ocoee-Apopka past Silver Star and Franklin on McGuire really gets backed up, and an optimum location to fix that would be to move Palm Drive up to this location where it is now. So we met with the applicant after their first round of construction documents, and they are agreeable to dedicate right-of-way for a future alignment, for a realignment of Palm Drive, and it would move the pond to the other side of the road. The pond would take care of the Vermeer Trinity site as well as realign Palm Drive. In your staff report, I mentioned incentives. There's a development agreement that has been recently revised, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. The Vermeer building, as I said, would be 8,000 square foot of office and retail and 10,000 square feet of warehouse. Trinity Tile is a combined 45,000 square feet, and then they have this ancillary building. As I said, I do have some changes to discuss with regard to how we're going to construct with the applicant the realignment of Palm Drive and provide some incentives for these corporate headquarters and these businesses to relocate in Ocoee. I'd like to do that after the applicant and engineer answer any questions, and if they want to discuss anything further, then come back and tie that part of the development in after we get over to the technical review of this. Again, this site plan approval would allow the site to receive approval from the commission, finalize any comments with staff, stamp it for construction, and they can begin construction and keeping their schedule. We will ask you to approve a development agreement tonight. We're also going to bring back a second amended development agreement later on, finalizing the road construction and how we're going to facilitate the cost. They're designing and engineering it right now. We got it. So if I can be afforded that opportunity, or I can go through the whole presentation. Thanks.
I've got to open the public hearing. So we'll open the public hearing to the public for anybody wanting to make comments on the Vermeer Trinity large-scale preliminary response plan. Close that and bring it back and ask before we vote on that, I'm gonna go ahead and ask the developer to come up. Let them make their comments and then we'll vote. Somebody give us their address, name, and
I'm Don DeLuzio. I'm one of the developers on the property. Chris Denveston couldn't be here tonight. He's the other developer on the property. I live at 13515 Baleria Circle in Windermere, Florida.
all right.
I'm Carlos Barrios with Barrios Engineering, 605 Delaney Avenue, Orlando, Florida. I'm the engineer of record.
And I'm Preston Haig, 1411 Edgewater Drive, and I'm here on behalf of Don DeLuzio and Kristen Beston.
All right, so, I'm gonna ask anybody up here on the dais if they have any comments or anything towards you, and then we'll vote on this first part. Anybody have anything they want to ask of the developer? Anybody? Nobody? Hey.
I have a couple questions
Okay,
of
go ahead.
Mike.
Yeah. Go ahead.
On the realignment of Palm Drive, will we be keeping the existing intersection, or will that go away?
Yes, sir. In order to facilitate the realignment, we will have to, let me find a better view, vacate this portion of Palm Drive. So in essence, that intersection will go away and it will move to the north some. You'll have a stormwater retention pond. I didn't pick it up. You'll have a stormwater retention pond in that southern piece. This is the Palm Drive, so it'll be vacated. We expect that half the right-of-way will go to Vermeer, half will go to Mr. Mansour. And in that half right-of-way, they'll fit in the pond and the realigned Palm Drive.
Good, that's a tricky little intersection there. And is that going to play at all into the Silver Star realignment?
Yes, this is actually one of the facilities off-site facilities that will help that realignment. So it'll be the first step in realizing some of those.
Okay,
Yes.
and one question. I take it there's going to be less manufacturing and more corporate office space?
Yes, no manufacturing for Vermeer. It's a place where the equipment that they're delivering locally or servicing and doing demos and teaching and teaching the operators and certifying them. Yes, it's not a place. The Vermeer site, the site will have a precast 6-foot wall around it to block the view from the park and from the view shed from Ocoee Apopka. But it is intended to be primarily that corporate and retail aspect.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, somebody's telling us it's time to go home. Rob, I'm afraid. I know Vermeer, I've known them for years. I've watched their company over on Old Winter Garden Road. Had a friend work there probably 40 years ago. That company's been around a long time, and I know the other companies must be good too. We're looking forward to having you guys here. So, all right, what I need now is a motion for the large-scale preliminary final site
I'd
plan.
like to make a motion for the large-scale preliminary final site plan.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Oliver. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Forster. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. All right, now we need one for the developer agreement. Do you want to explain that?
Just real quick, we're providing incentives from the brownfield dedication of right-of-way as well. It's just the aspect of the road is so new and so quick. They transition, and we're agreeing to redesign it. We had to push this back a month. We just need to look at the design of the road, the cost, and work an agreement and bring that back to you at a later date.
One question.
Mr. Mayor, it was similar to when we did the Main Street extension down there. We pushed it off a couple of years, and
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out, some of the estimates we got right now are a little high, so we want to redo those estimates. But the difference here is to go along with the development, we do have to figure out the financial portion of that. So we want to kind of get that included in the developer agreement, bring that back as an amendment for you, probably at the next meeting in January.
Okay. All right, just one question on that intersection change. They come out of that shopping center, where are they gonna cut to get on Palm?
They'll still have, it's just right now that there's no drive at the end near Ocoee
Yeah, I know.
Apopka, it's just all open. They'll have a designated driveway.
Okay,
We'll work
all
with Mr. Mansour to they have opportunities still along Palm Drive,
All
but
right.
at that southern end will work.
I need a motion for the developer agreement.
I'll make the motion to approve the development agreement.
Motion made by Commissioner Oliver. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Forster. Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, guys. All right, now we're gonna go to the second reading of ordinance, public hearing for second reading of ordinance amending the City of Ocoee Municipal General Employees Retirement Trust Fund reflecting changes for compliance with the Internal Revenue Code. Is that city clerk? You wanna make any comments, Bill?
I don't have any comments, but the attorney is present if you do, Mr. Diener, he's the pension attorney.
I do. Let me go ahead and read the title to the ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida relating to the City of Ocoee Municipal General Employees Retirement Trust Fund adopted by ordinance number 2009-20 as subsequently amended, amending section 1, definitions by amending the definition of actuarial equivalent, credited service, and spouse, amending Section 4, Finances and Fund Management, amending Section 6, Benefit Amounts and Eligibility, amending Section 9, Optional Forms of Benefits, amending Section 14, Maximum Pension, amending Section 24, Reemployment After Retirement, amending Section 25, Deferred Retirement Option Plan, providing for severability of provisions, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. Yes.
All right, I'll open it up for the public. Anybody in the public have any comments on the amending the City of Ocoee Municipal General Employees Retirement Trust Fund? No comments? Bring it back to the dais. Do I hear any comments? Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Fershner to approve item 9. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. No more comments? Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right. Item number 10, second reading of ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 78, Fire Prevention and Emergency Medical Response, and approval of rate resolution for fire prevention and emergency around medical transport and related services. I think you're gonna put in, oh, we got new chief.
New deputy chief.
Deputy chief.
This is our new deputy chief's first meeting, so figured we'd
No, that's not his first meeting.
First meeting as deputy chief.
There you go.
Figured we'd try to get him up here, but this actually standardizes the fire protection code with state statute, which changed last year, and it sets up the resolution for rates for our new transport. So staff recommends approval. And this is your second time seeing this.
Just real quick, both of these guys got promoted.
That's right.
We call them chiefies.
I've worked on this several times. In case there's any
All right,
questions, you know.
all right. You gotta read. Let me read the ordinance.
All right, this is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Ocoee, Florida, repealing in its entirety Chapter 78 of the City of Ocoee Code of Ordinances entitled Fire Prevention Code, Local Amendments, creating a new Chapter 78 entitled Fire Prevention and Emergency Medical Response, authorizing the fire department to serve as the primary and sole provider of emergency medical response and transport services, authorizing the City Commission to adopt fees for emergency medical response and transport services, and to re-adopt fees for permits, re-inspections, and fireworks displays, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing an effective date.
All right, I'm gonna open it up to the public hearing. No comments from the public. I'm gonna close it. I need a motion for the second reading of the ordinance, which you just, we'll do that. We'll do A first, second reading of ordinance. We need a,
Motion to approve.
Second.
motion made by Commissioner Grogan, seconded by Commissioner Wilson. No more comments. Let's vote on that. Uh-oh, somebody turned off the machine.
Sorry.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. All right, now we need, we don't have to open it for the,
Let's do open it.
you wanna open it for that?
Yeah.
Says no. You gonna read it?
Do we have that rate, is that rate resolution in here? Hang on.
Yes, it's its own item. It's 10B. It's not on your list, no, sorry. It's in the packet.
Hadn't got there yet, so.
Go ahead and open the public hearing.
All right, I'm opening the public hearing for item B, adoption of rate resolution. Anybody in the public have any comments?
It says it's on.
No comments, I'm gonna bring it back to the guys. All right.
All right, this is a resolution of the City of Ocoee, Florida, adopting a schedule of rates, charges, and fees for fire prevention and emergency ground medical transport and related services provided by the city in accordance with Chapter 78 of the City of Ocoee Code of Ordinances, providing for annual adjustment in accordance with the CPI, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
All right, I need a motion.
Make a motion to accept the rate resolution.
Motion made by Commissioner Forshner, seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, going to item number 11, second reading of ordinance for VMG Estates, 815 Clear Corner Ocoee Road, North Lakewood Avenue. That's City Planner Room.
Yes, Mayor, this is an annexation.
Thanks, Chiefs.
And annexation only. This is an annexation of the property into the city limits of Ocoee. The existing future land use is low-density residential. We're looking at options for some potential lower use medium density, so we didn't want to give the property as zoning. It'll have to come back through under development, a residential development, under a plan unit development. So we'll come back with a rezoning, the plan unit development, and a plan. So we're simply just annexing the property, bring it in the city limits, and get that out of the way. Thank you.
All right. All right, I'm gonna open it to public. Anybody in the public have any comments on number 11? All right, no comments, I'm gonna bring it back to the dais. Anybody up here have any comments? All right, I need a motion.
Let me go ahead and read the.
Wait a minute, sorry, go ahead and read it.
This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately 3.89 acres located on the east side of North Lakewood Avenue, 103 feet north of Burnt Tree Court, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, and the Joint Planning Area Agreement, providing for and authorizing the updating of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for an effective date.
All right, now I need a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Motion made by Commissioner Grogan, seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 12. Second reading of ordinance for Amaron property, 403 Second Street, annexation and rezoning.
This one, Mayor, is being requested to be continued to January 15th, date certain.
All right, you gotta read these.
Nope, let's make a motion to continue it.
Motion
wanna
to
continue?
continue? Motion
Yes.
to continue?
All right, you made a motion, Commissioner Wilson. Motion to
Second.
continue item 12 by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Grogan. Let's vote. All right, continued till January
15th.
15th.
Boy, that seems so far off, doesn't it?
Seems like a long time. Second reading of ordinance number 13, second reading of ordinance for the City of Ocoee Center Street Pond, 715 Center Street, annexation and rezoning project.
Yes, Mayor, this is a pond that used to be in, under Orange County. They transferred it to the city of Ocoee. We are in a annexation process for the property next door, and notice our pond is not in the city. It's eligible for annexation, so we're facilitating the annexation process.
All right, this is the annexation ordinance. An ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately 3.58 acres located on the south side of Center Street, 525 feet east of Orange Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, and the Joint Planning Area Agreement, providing for and authorizing the updating of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, and providing for an effective date. And the rezoning ordinance is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County R1 low-density residential to Ocoee R1A low-density residential on certain real property containing approximately 3.58 acres located on the south side of Center Street, 525 feet east of Orange Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, and the Joint Planning Area Agreement, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right, I'm gonna open the public hearing. Anybody want to make comments on those two items? When I close, I'm gonna close the public hearing and bring it back. What I need is a motion first for a second reading of annexation ordinance.
Make a motion for the second reading of the annexation ordinance.
Motion made by Commissioner Hopper. Do I hear a second? Second by Commissioner Wilson. Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Now I need a motion for the second reading of rezoning.
Make a motion for the, oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, go ahead.
Make a motion for the second reading of the rezoning of the ordinance.
Motion made by Commissioner Oliver for the
Second.
second reading and seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Let's vote. All right, moving on to number 14. Second reading of ordinance to amend Article 7 of the Land Development Code, LDC, for the citywide floodplain management ordinance. City Planner Ruber.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is a perfunctory requirement where we have to put some of the FEMA floodplain construction requirements in our land development code. We still have our normal conservation, wetland, and floodplain requirements. This is just for the, like, as an example, those existing structures that are in floodplain, the ability for them to expand or rebuild. there are provisions under the Florida Building Code, and we're required to put them in the Land Development Code. They presently are housed in the Land Development Code under the Article 6. This is just totally replacing the full Section 6-1A to include what is the floodplain management. Just want to commend Ryan Murphy, our certified floodplain manager, gets the task of dealing with FEMA staff and helping us bring this ordinance and getting their seal of approval, so we are in compliance. Thank you.
All right, read.
This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the City of Ocoee Land Development Code, repealing Part 1A of Article 7 of Chapter 180, City of Ocoee Land Development Code relating to environmental protection, adopting a new Part 1A of Article 7 of Chapter 180, City of Ocoee Land Development Code entitled Floodplain Management, adopting flood hazard maps, designating a floodplain administrator, adopting procedures and criteria for development in flood hazard areas, and for other purposes, providing for applicability, providing for codification, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
All right, I'm gonna open the public hearing. Anybody want to make any comments on item 14? Close the public hearing, bring it back up to the dais. I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Grogan. Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, second reading, going to number 15, second reading of ordinance for greens at Forest Lake, large-scale comprehensive plan amendment from low-density residential to medium-density residential and rezoning to planned unit development.
Yes.
Land use plan. City planner Rumor.
Yes, so this is adoption of an ordinance changing the land use from agricultural to the medium density and rezoning the PUD plan unit development, and there's a development agreement attached to this one. The property is located along the 429 at the terminus of the new Fountain West Boulevard we constructed as part of the Arbors development. You have the Arbors apartment, you have the charter school. They constructed the road up to the West Orange Trail, which bisects, which runs on the west side of the subject property. The subject property also has this little flag that comes to this remnant West Road as well. There's a 5-acre piece in the middle, which is not a part of this application. You saw this back in August. We were transmitting, brought this to you for the first reading of ordinances and to transmit the large-scale comprehensive plan amendment where we look at the level of service for schools, police, fire, traffic, garbage, recreation, and show the state and the surrounding jurisdictions that changing this land use will not harm those level of services, or if it is, this is the mitigation process. We received a clean bill of health from the Department of Economic Opportunity, no comments from the state agencies or Orange County or Popco, Winter Garden, Windermere. So we're just bringing this back for final adoption. There's no changes to the plan, which is for 200 townhome units, a stormwater pond, recreation, access to the trail. Meritage Homes is the builder of these townhomes. We didn't receive any comments, and we're just bringing it for final adoption, and then we will send this package to the state adopting that land use change, so our land use maps will be revised.
Yep, this is the large-scale comprehensive plan amendment ordinance. An ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted in 1991 is amended. Amending the future land use map of the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan to change the future land use designation from low-density residential to medium-density residential for certain real property containing approximately 29.17 acres located on the north side of West Road and on the west side of State Road 429 Expressway, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city future land use map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And the rezoning ordinance is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from A1, Ocoee A1, to Ocoee PUD Planned Unit Development on certain real property containing approximately plus or minus 29.17 acres located on the north side of West Road and on the west side of State Road 429 Expressway, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Did you read both of them? All right, I'm gonna open the public hearing. All right, yeah, I have one one thing here. Come on up and give us your name, and been so long, I about forgot about it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Gabe Aaronstein, 6340 Via Tierra, Boca Raton, Florida. I'm with the Arbors at Crown Point. I'm the owner of Arbors at Crown Point. I'm only going to take a minute. We're good neighbors. I'm looking forward to having this development come in next door. I think they're going to do a good job, and it's going to be a nice use for that area. I just want to point out everybody's favorite topic tonight, obviously, is traffic. There is, and Mike's pointing right to it right now, our development where the clubhouse is, where he's pointing right there, that is a place where the kids that go to school there, and there's dozens of them that go to school right across the street, they go in the morning at rush hour, and they come back at the end of the day pretty much at rush hour. That's their crossing point right there. Hasn't been an issue up till now, because that Fountains West dead ends up at the Orange Trail. It's not going to dead end now. So I just want to make sure that the city is aware of the fact that we have dozens of children crossing that road at those times, in the morning and in the afternoon. So how that's addressed, I think that needs to be thought out. I support the development. I think it's going to be great for the area, but that needs to be thought out for the safety of those children and those families. Also want to point out the T at Fountains West, right underneath the church property. That's a little bit of a game of chicken right now. It is going to get a lot busier with all the 200 more townhomes, the traffic coming out of there. Right now, everybody sort of looks at each other at that three-way, and it kind of gets figured out, and everybody waves at each other, and it's sort of safe. It's going to get more complicated there. So y'all have done a great job. I was one of those developers that came in, 5-6 years ago. Mike, has tremendous asset to this city. I've really enjoyed watching how things have grown, and you guys are doing smart development here. Want to make sure that we take care of those 240 very happy families up there and their kids, and keep those kids safe. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The comment would be, I think that when it comes time for the other to be built, it would have to be crossing guards. But I mean,
Mayor, we can look at, we have the owner of an operator of the charter school is an applicant for a site across the road. Now that we know what's developing in this vacant area, we can look at, get with the charter school and find the appropriate place. We've done things, we've added the pedestrian crossing, blinking signs. There's a solution for that. And it's part of the development agreement, it's part of the background. There is an issue, we are thinking ahead, and as part of the development of this lot, a part of the development of the subject property and some of the other lots, there's a proportionate share for a future signal. The West Road is a county-maintained road, and they will put a signal when it's warranted, but we will have funds available to make that happen at such time as it's warranted, hopefully a little bit before then. So we are kind of doing some forward planning there. And then as well, they are dedicating the bike strip. It's not wide enough to be a public road. This remnant parcel we have an application in on it. The same property owner that owns the spike strip owns the property to the south. We can get this they're dedicating this to us for future public right-of-way. So we will have, at some point in the future, another outlet, a road that comes out to this remnant West Road. So there will be multiple access points.
is there not a stop sign at that intersection you're talking about?
There is, sir, but it's everybody.
I know, but that's everywhere you go. I mean, people gotta learn what a stop sign means.
Stop sign, I think, is further down too, isn't it?
Well,
It's past
You
the
gotta know
school.
what STOP means.
There's a stop sign there, and there's a stop sign.
Down past the school.
I mean,
That is-
I go there a lot. I go there on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings, meet some people there. I stop. I mean, people gotta stop. And them 240 that live in there that you're talking about gotta learn to stop too. Cause I've met them at the intersection there. So maybe pass out a paper up there to tell them.
We'll do that, sir. It's just, my point is, it's busy there.
Yeah.
It is
I mean, it works for everybody, so,
Yeah.
I say, I go there quite a bit, and most of the ones I have a problem with are coming from those apartments. They don't seem to know what
And what you're not seeing in this, what you're not seeing in this aerial is there's a Wendy's here and a Taco Bell as well. The
Yeah.
Taco Bell
Yeah, there is.
access is a couple
Yeah.
points, the Wendy's does have.
Now, we can have a crosswalk and a cross light for that, can't we? I mean, if you,
We can look at the
not
options. There's-
necessarily
there's-
a stoplight
we'll have
or
to.
street lights, but just a stop, a pedestrian crossing?
Yes.
We can look into that.
Yeah.
Maybe we could even
Okay.
ticket those people that don't stop.
Did you drive all the way up tonight for this?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
I
man.
think Mike played a joke on me and made it this late.
All right, what I need now is, anybody else want to make any comments? If not, I need motions. We've read,
Well, motion to approve the,
start with
ordinance.
A.
A.
I need second reading of
Second
ordinance for large-scale comprehensive plan. I need a motion for that.
I just said motion to approve.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Grogan. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, second by Commissioner Forstner. Let's vote. All right, I need a motion for second reading of rezoning ordinance.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Commissioner Grogan. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. They all trying to play a joke on me. My hearing's bad anyway. All right, motion, let's hear, let's vote. Let's vote. That's it. Let's vote. Long too. All right, item C, developer agreement.
Motion to approve the development agreement?
Motion made by Commissioner Grogan. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any, many. Commissioner Oliver,
Everybody take turns.
let's vote. All right.
Hey, this is what we,
Man, it's a long one. I remember when we talked about this last meeting, about it
Oh,
being
he's
tonight.
smart.
Number 16, second reading. Thanks, gentlemen. Second reading of ordinance for comprehensive plan amendment for the 10-year water supply facilities work plan update.
And Mayor, the next two items are also comp plan amendments that we transmitted to the state, and I don't want to forget, but I just want to thank staff. The transmittal package for these three projects and the requirements was really thick. We received an email from Department of Economic Opportunity saying you did such a good job with your transmittal. It's very organized, very easy to read. Thank you. So I want to just acknowledge Sharon Zink, Margie Rivera, a new part-timer, Danielle, Shannon Hopper, for helping me put together that transmittal package. If it's one of those, you have to do it in a timely manner, and if it's wrong, they gig you. So we got it right, and they kind of congratulated us.
That's good.
This item is a 10-year water supply plan. It's a part of the Wekiva Parkway Protection Act requirement. We adopted a 10-year water supply. We're just updating it. It's a technical document for just the utility area within the city of Ocoee, so it's not the Orange County area. Again, we sent it to DEO, St. John's, all the state agencies, surrounding jurisdictions, got no comments, objections, recommendations, so we're asking for adoption.
All right. You got something to read?
Yep. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted in 1991 as amended, amending the 10-year water supply facilities work plan by reference to the comprehensive plan, amending the conservation element, the potable water sub-element, and the intergovernmental coordination element, and the natural groundwater aquifer recharge element of the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan for the purpose of updating and implementing the 10-year water supply plan, providing for transmittal, providing for public participation, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
All right. Open the public hearing. Open the public hearing. Nobody. We'll move it back to the dais. Do I hear any discussion or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Grogan. Let's vote. All right, item number 17, motion carries unanimously.
Again, this is a large-scale comprehensive map amendment and some text. We had updated the existing land use map in our comprehensive plan. We updated the future land use map, moved it to a planning horizon of 2028, and incorporated another map, existing land use and JPA map, and just to bring those maps up to date so we could adopt these other comp plan amendments. Again, sent it to and received no comments, so this is for adoption.
All right. Open, you need to read something?
Yep,
Go ahead.
I do. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted in 1991 as amended, amending the intergovernmental coordination element of the comprehensive plan to add the 17th and 18th amendments to the joint planning area agreement between the City of Ocoee and Orange County, Florida, and to identify a planning horizon of 2028, amending the future land use element to reflect the 17th and 18th amendments to the joint planning area agreement, amending the future land use map to conform to the joint planning area agreement as amended, and to reflect small-scale comprehensive plan amendments and annexations since July 2011. Amending the existing land use map to conform to the joint planning area agreement as amended and to reflect small-scale comprehensive plan amendments and annexations since July 2011. Amending the future land use element to add the joint planning area map to the future land use map series, providing for transmittal, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
All right, open the public hearing. Close the public hearing, bring it back up to the dais. Any comments? If not, I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Grogan. Here's a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Oliver. Let's vote.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Planner. Number 18, regular agenda, discussion of an unsolicited offer from Forges Realty Group.
Thank you, Mayor.
Assistant City Manager.
Members of the commission, Craig Shadrick, Assistant City Manager. It's good news when we start getting unsolicited offers to buy city-owned property. That's a sign of the quality that we're starting to create in our city. And we've received 2 additional offers. If you recall the last commission meeting, we had received an offer on the property that we own at 80 Mims and Clark Road. Subsequently, we've received 2 other offers on city-owned property. The one before you is an offer from Forges Realty to purchase the site down the street on Blueford that has a little 900 square foot building called the Computer Store that sits on a 15,000 square foot property. What we're asking for tonight, and I'm speaking for really for both of these, so I'm saving you from hearing me talk on the next item some. City charter requires that when we receive an unsolicited offer for property that has a fair market value above $100,000, we need to determine what the fair market value is. And in order to approve a contract and enter into a sales agreement, we have to have a public hearing that requires 7 days notice. And so all we're asking for tonight on this is to have the commission authorize us to expend up to $3,500 from the contingency fund balance and bring that back after we get it appraised. The offer is for $135,000. The city bought the property for $225,000 in 2016, which was $25,000 above appraised value at the time. Since the appraisal is older than a year, we're required to get a new one. Additionally, the offer, while lower than what we paid for it, takes into account renovations in the city. One of the reasons we haven't done anything with it is because it really hasn't worked out to our interests to spend $50,000 to $100,000. And the Forges Realty Group has indicated early on that they might be willing to conform to the new downtown design regulations, and we would estimate the cost of that to be $75,000 or up, depending what they do. And that also would be used as an office, and it would bring the property back on the tax roll. So those are all things to be considered at a later time. The point at hand is to just authorize us to get the appraisal and bring it back.
I have a question.
All right.
Okay?
All right, Hope, go ahead.
I have a question. You used the word might. They might put $75,000 into it.
It's gonna be more than that.
Well, I mean, but when you said the word might, it just kind of,
Let me try to briefly assuage that. They might spend $75,000, or they might spend $150,000, or they might tear the building down. We had Mr. Krug from Public Works evaluate that because we had been approached by a couple of businesses a year and a half ago. And the recommendation at the time from our structural and physical analysis was to tear it down and try to RFP the property so we could have something else built there. Mr. Forges is going to be in it based on a 2-year-old $50,000 estimate, and what we're seeing with the downtown projects, I would say $75,000 is, rock bottom pricing based on what we're seeing with the downtown projects, which is a 30 to 35% increase in construction costs. The electrical doesn't meet any modern code. The HVAC system has to completely be replaced. The flooring has to be replaced. There's structural damage in the ceiling. The roof needs to be replaced, and because of the new downtown development code, they'll be required, I should have qualified that, they're going to be required to meet the new downtown development code. So hope that helped answer your question.
Yes, it did. The septic, I'm assuming they can hook up to the sewer system at that point,
Absolutely.
because I heard that was an issue there too.
This all has to come back to you. So
That's good.
those are all discussions that
I'm
would,
just asking.
would happen at the public hearing. What you need to decide tonight is, do you want us to move forward with getting an appraisal so that we can bring it back to you in a more complete form?
All right, because I got the contingency amount in my hot little hand there. $50,500 is what we got in contingency. So,
I'll make the motion to approve.
all right, motion to, is that to
Approve
approve
it.
doing an
To
appraisal?
approve it at $3,500, up
All
to
right.
$3,500 for the appraisal.
All right, motion made to do the appraisal for up to $3,500.
From contingency.
From contingency. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Grogan. All right. Let's vote.
Help out, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Again, it's a cute building, and I'd love to see
Did
something
that go,
there.
did it go up there? Oh,
Yes.
unanimous. You got that down quick.
I'd love to see something.
I will say that they've offered, I heard them talking, they have offered to kind of do what we want them to do, so that's kind of nice, We bought that property under the thing, and we would try to make sure, we kind of like Wintergarden was doing with Rob and all of us, wanted to make sure we didn't, somebody come in there and just throw something.
No, I'm sure the building's got some issues.
Yeah, it does have. All right, number 19, you
Yes,
already told us
yes,
about
sir,
that
Mayor.
too. Does
So
that gotta have
pers-
appraisal too, right?
Yes, that's all we're asking for. That would be brought back, just
Same
very
thing.
briefly.
What was more?
I will
Oh.
say that this one here, we paid about 9 to 10,000 an acre. We've been
A little
offered,
closer to 12, but
no, he figured it out that day.
Well, it says bringing the,
Mike did. Where's Mike?
it's
Parcels.
$11,792.45 an
Okay,
acre.
well, I know it's on there, but that ain't what he told me that day. But that's, now they've offered us 94,000.
$93,750 per net buildable acre,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, all right, so what I need is, we need a motion to do an appraisal there. How much?
up to 35,
Up
it
to
says up to
3,500.
35.
That's about a 3,500.
All right, do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion
Motion
out of
made by Commissioner
contingency.
Wilson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner First. All right, let's
Thank
vote.
you.
Oh.
Motion carries unanimously. Woo, how about that?
Mayor, can I just say something?
Yes, ma'am?
After tonight, it's such a pleasure to see all that's happening in Ocoee with, it's a long meeting, but it's such a pleasure to see all the changes that are happening here. Because we had so many years we always said that kind of, everything was jumping over us. And now we're seeing so much action, and it's our hometown, and it's nice to see these changes.
Nice to see that ad valorem money come in, taxes, economic growth. All right, so we are at staff action.
I have nothing. Mayor, I just wanted to commend Mike and his staff for bringing all these materials and putting them together tonight and doing such a good job. We're not used to getting these many items in one night, so I commend Development Services, Mike and his staff.
Well, I think our staff, which is, I know all of us here thinks, I think we all think the same thing. I don't think you could ask for a better staff in our city, that what they do is our employees are really on top of everything. All we hear now, it's great to go to functions and hear people talk about the city of Ocoee. I went to the NAIOP meeting a couple weeks ago. Man, it was like they got to beat me on the back, patting us on the back and everything. It makes you get tired just getting all the patting on the back and hearing all the people talk about the good things that are going on in the city, and our staff, but all our departments are great. They do this stuff, and like I said, we knew at the last meeting we were gonna have a long meeting tonight, and we moved through it pretty good, so we appreciate everybody, all the staff and all the
Thank you for that.
commissioners taking the time tonight. So, that it? All right, comments from commissioners. We'll start with Commissioner Oliver.
Okay. Just briefly, just have a statement to make. There's evidence that this commission supports youth in this community, youth in this community. The evidence of this support has been shown through many gestures of financial, moral, and now the proposed implementation of our youth, Ocoee Youth Council, and also our educational support. With that being said, I would like to propose a consensus from the commission to move forward with the establishment of the Ocoee Youth Council. And I would like to direct your attention to the handout that you have up here that gives a description of the mission. It is to create opportunities for youth that improve the local community. And I point that out to your attention there. And it gives you just some more basic generic information on the draft that I submitted to you guys before the meeting. In order to move forward with this initiative, I would like to bring on a consultant that would assist with the commission on the establishment and operation of the youth council. The consultant slash youth coordinator would establish the foundation of the program, establish a selection process, create operational procedures or SOPs, coordinate with students, parents, and our local high school, establish workshops, civil and community projects, coordinate with the city youth council, coordinate with the other cities' youth councils to establish partnerships, create monthly or quarterly reporting system to this commission. They would work on an average of 50 to 60 hours per month to be paid at $15 an hour, which we have already set aside funds in our budget, sufficient funds in our budget to push forth this initiative. So therefore, I would like to propose that we look at hiring this consultant. I've spoken with Ms. Dillard on several occasions, asking her to see if she would be interested in helping us with this initiative, as I believe she possesses the qualities, the skills, and abilities that would make this a successful program.
The $15, is that for her?
Yeah, that's a consultant.
Oh. So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Commissioner.
No, that was it.
All right.
I was just looking for a consensus from the commission to move forward with the.
Now, that takes
project.
half your money, you were saying, out of that fund, right?
That's about $15 an hour. At 56 hours a week, that's just
How
about.
much is in that? How much?
20,000 is what we put
That's
in.
what we put, 20,000?
Now, the other thing is, I would say, is this similar to what I told you that guy I met at the convention told you about, right?
Yeah, I passed that information
Yeah.
along to her
And-
already to establish connections.
I'm later than what views are, so, been a long day. Let me think a minute. Anybody got any comments?
I got a quick
Go back to what I was gonna ask you.
I got a quick question, or so, while you think, Matt.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's great, and as I read this, you're talking about participate in the legislative trips for the children. How is that being paid? Is that being paid out of the 20,000?
No, the legislative trips right now, what I've established, I have a group of about 25 middle school kids that were scholarship to go to the Louisiana State Capitol to learn how to write bills and support them. That's actually scholarship, and that will be paid for through private funds.
Okay.
The travel, hotel, everything for that particular trip is already
So we
designated
won't
for
be coming
private
back
funds.
to the commission
No,
for-
no.
okay.
Not unless they come here and say, hey, look, we won't spend any money.
Rob, can I just ask if this has been, Rob, have you sat down with Commissioner
We
Oliver?
talked, and I advised Commissioner Oliver, this is something he needs to bring to you to get a consensus on. And probably what we would do is come back with some type of enabling resolution or something which would define the youth council and an employment agreement for a consultant or something like that, which would determine the length of that and those types of things. But this would have to come back to you in January. But we don't want to go through all this. It probably needs, some type of legal review to a short extent. And we didn't want to do any of that unless the commission was on board. So yeah, we have talked, and we came up with what to bring forward to you tonight in order for us to go on to the next step, if this is something that you support.
All right, what I would ask is, I'd like to see us put a staff person to be liaison with this. I want to make sure our city staff person would be working with the person to come up with the things, and then you're going to bring it back to us, right?
Absolutely,
They'll come
yeah.
back to get
Yeah,
approved.
I just want a consensus just to kind of move forward,
Yeah.
bringing on staff and whatever recommendations that we have to incorporate those into what we're trying to do to move forward.
And and this will be a overall people from all the different ranges at the school, right?
Absolutely, so
That's why
we'll start with the high school and we'll.
But I mean, we'll pick out all different.
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely. It would be a very diverse group, so
Right.
we're definitely looking for
But
diversity
I'd like to see us
within the
put a
group.
staff person. I know you're gonna be a liaison, right?
Yes,
But I'd like to see us put a staff person there.
I think that's a great idea,
But
get the staff
you're gonna
involved
be
as well.
We're gonna make you the.
Thanks for volunteering.
I wonder why.
We'll let you be the representative. I guess we'll end up making that kind of like we are at other committees with whoever be the liaison to it, and you can be that.
Yeah, we wanted to, I think it'd probably be safe to structure it like we have our advisory boards. We wanted to
Yeah.
talk with the city attorney to see if this was something that we could do as a standing committee versus an advisory board because of sunshine laws and those types of things. When you're talking 16, 17-year-olds, we probably wouldn't want them to be
Okay.
subject to sunshine laws because they're kind of
So-
complicated at
That
times.
might be a
so,
little tough.
yeah.
So we got the money, that money in there. Do we make we need a motion to do that approval, or we need a consent?
I
think
think
motion probably.
that'll all be included in whatever materials we bring back to you in
Bring
January.
that back. Consensus to go ahead and
Yeah,
start that.
we just consent just to move forward.
Yeah, and then bring it back. All right. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Any more?
That's it.
Commissioner First?
We won't see everybody until the new year, so just wanted to wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and have a safe time this season. Thank you.
Is there a meeting in the 18th?
No.
No,
No.
you get a break.
We'll see you.
Merry
Christmas. See you in January.
January 15th, I believe.
All right, Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, just for all those folks who are out decorating their homes, the Park and Recreation Advisory Board is going to be going out soon. I believe it's sometime the week of the 17th, I've got the dates, but they're gonna be traveling the city a couple days that week. And if you have a home that they think warrants one of those wonderful signs, that they've taken note of your decorations, you may wake up in the morning to a sign in your front yard. So we're all excited about doing that. So please, hopefully, we're going to travel throughout the city on the 17th and on the 19th. So please have your lights on so we can see them. And again, happy holidays, happy new year. Please have a very safe holiday season. And we'll see you on January
13th.
15th.
15th?
We all don't know. January 15th, we'll see you that. And again, please decorate and have an enjoyable time.
Commissioner Grogan.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Just wanted to thank those brave officers again for their heroics, and you couldn't think they could top it, but they did it again today, 2 of the same officers. That's pretty incredible. Thank you for looking out for our citizens and putting yourself in harm's way. And everybody have a safe holiday.
All right. Real quick, I know we want to go home, but I want to tell you that I was at the inauguration today. One of the most outstanding things there was our city band, Ocoee High School band. Everybody at that place loved them. They took the show today, this morning at the inauguration. Well, they just got back from Chicago, where they were in Chicago playing in the fest, which we give them $1,000. Those guys and kids are unbelievable. They were all bragging on them today at the thing. So if you get a chance, if you see any of the band members' parents, if you know any of them, tell them congratulations. They are one of our, and they were great in the parade Saturday. What is it, Bernie? I can't never think of his first name. He is a super instructor.
Oh, Mr. Henderson.
Mr. Henderson, great person. And I'm telling you, they had him jiving in that place this morning. They were great. We also got to look at the Jazz Festival coming up in February for the jazz thing. So somehow we got to figure out how we can help them get the advertisement out on that. That is one of the most interesting jazz music you'll hear at the high school. These guys, that's another group of the band from the school that puts on that jazz festival up at the school, with the Oakland City Commissioner putting it on and helping. So we need to see what we can do to help them advertise that, to get a crowd. I don't understand why hardly nobody goes to that. That's one of the best things we got going on with the arts. Hope everybody has a great holiday, great Christmas, New Year's, and see you back here on, you say January 15th? January 15th. Rob.